Yeah, let's see. All right, so let's talk a little bit about marketing. Today we'll talk a little bit about the marketing plan and also about an innovative way of marketing. Okay, so we do need to start recording now. Yeah?
Ik sta nog steeds aan.
You are recording, as you speak. Great. I wonder if there's no space, but that's... Okay, welcome to this class about marketing. So let's start with a quick case study. You all know, you know by now, I've described it many times, and I think one of the strongest points about was that they did this whole €0 marketing. So from day one they said, we have no money, we don't want to spend any money on marketing, yet what we want is everybody to sign up. Of course the tool is free, so it's a lot easier to get people to sign up. So the first thing they did was start a Twitter account, very simple. This was of course the day when Twitter was very unknown still, so that was one of the first things they did. They had some contacts with Mgmt, so Mgmt, who apparently have quite a large reach, they immediately had contact with them and started sending them all kinds of spam. And then Mgmt picked up on it and they said, well, we are positive about it. Actually, we think it's the best tool available right now, PCM, so PC magazine, also well read by IT early adopters, so they also were all getting on board. They were saying, well, we recommend it and it's our favorite, September 2009. Computer idee. Also in 2009 they were nominated for the website of the year. I think in 2009 or 2010 they also won the audience prize, which is one of the best prizes to win because it gets you a lot of publicity again. So they had on nu.nl. There we go. It was in 2009 for the next web. They also won the audience prize. So you can constantly see that they're trying to get bigger. This was their first employee. Kind of cool. This was the director who brought in some cash to begin with. Also, through some lucky, I mean, these guys were really sort of entering the Web 2.0 spirit. So they went to the next web conference, they went to all kinds of conferences. And one of the things that they did is they initiated and went to a number of these open coffees. I'm not sure if you're aware of them, but these are entrepreneurs meetings in coffee places in Utrecht. I think this one was in the Branderij or something. And 8 o'clock news was wanted to cover this. They were very curious about this new phenomenon because it's happening all over the country in small cities, especially in Amsterdam, of course, where this happens a lot. So it was happening in Utrecht as well, and some guy came by from the NOS journal and they were filming there. And these guys happened to be there. So again, free publicity. Also, when they switched from cash to the name switch, that was covered by BNR, BNR Radio. It's also really good. Frank watching. So this is one that you could actually follow as well if you're interested in technology. Frank watching has all kinds of new digital trends and digital news. Marketing Facts. This was actually really great. They knew a girl who worked at Marketing Facts, did some free blogging for them. This girl is now kind of an IT journalist, writing for nu.nl and writing for some other sites. So just having that contact constantly gave them some extra edge to get more free publicity. Here's just a nice picture of their very first office, which I gave them. If you look at this picture, it's one of the best pictures I could have taken of this room because it's not much more than a broom closet, and I mean the wall is here. So to get from here you had to really like scooch by. And these guys were working there for I think 6-7 months, really on top of each other. And strangely enough, I found myself dropping by very often there because the atmosphere was just really great. So I'm hoping the same can happen to one of your teams. Important point, if you with your team need a room, if you want to work on this full time and you don't want to work all the time in the Studielandschap or somewhere else, you can easily join us and get a room on the 6th floor or on the 5th floor, and then well, you'll be working at arm's length from us, which would be really great. Alright, so let's take another example. Google, well, I think it's still one of the most interesting companies that there is, especially in the fact that their main money stream comes from AdWords. So this means that they can do all kinds of nice experimentation, trying to get people to use the internet more. If you use the internet more, they make more money. It's as simple as that. But of course, they want to be in charge of every channel, so that's why they came up with the Chromebook. That's even why Android got anywhere, basically, and now it's the most popular mobile operating system, which I find really quite amazing. Chrome is also a very good one in that. One thing I find really interesting, that I find even a little bit dangerous, is that Google tries to, so what they've been doing is they know everything from the point where you start looking. So you say, okay, I'm interested in roller skates, you type in roller skates, and then they can give you some ads, and they can show you some stores, and you may be able to click to that store, so they know you've gone to that store. So they have a lot of information about this chain. What's the one thing they're missing in this chain is the actual payment information.
They have a Google checkout.
Exactly. This is why Google checkout is so important. Whenever somebody's paying Google checkout, they know, okay, so this person, we help them all the way from the beginning, all the way to the end, to the payment of, for the product. So they basically own anybody who buys something on the internet, or they own the information about this, and they can optimize for that. Well, you all have to draw your own conclusions from that. I think it's a bit, they're becoming too much of a monopoly player. I mean, if they determine every product I buy on the web, it's a bit scary. Okay, so marketing basics. I'm going to run through a lot of slides today that are just interesting for your marketing plan. You can forget about them right after you hand in the marketing plan, but they're important. So of course, basically, let me see what I'm saying here. Yeah, you first determine what your customers desire, and then you build a product or service. Here's a nice Dilbert strip. Describe your product in technical terms and I'll turn it into marketing language. Well, it tends to overheat. Hottest product on the market. All the parts are known carcinogens. Makes you appreciate life. So I like how marketing guys can typically give a spin on something. So what is marketing? Well, planning and executing the conception, so your product, pricing, promotion, and distribution of your product. Well, the rest is, I think, fairly clear. So here you have the, some typical marketing management philosophies: production, sales, marketing, and societal marketing orientations. And each of these four are sort of like, okay, how do you want to approach your products? Some products are expensive, so you need to have a completely different approach. You can have a guy who smokes cigars driving a Mercedes to customers, and you pay him 100 or 200 grand a year, big sales bonuses, which is completely different from, for instance, who, for each customer can make maybe 20, 25 euros a year per customer, so it's a bit different philosophy. So you can have a production orientation, so focus on the internal capabilities of your firm. We are good at X, so therefore, because we are good at this, we have really beautiful products that will be bought. It's best used when competition is weak, demand exceeds supply, and well, with generic products that only compete on price. And well, it's not close enough to customer needs. Sales orientation, so that's very aggressive. That's where you really need to ram your product down the throats of your customer. So, well, high sales will result in high profits. Think about, life insurance, encyclopedias, people calling you up during dinner time, trying to sell you some silly product. Again, also not very close to your customer needs, and I don't think anyone here is in that area. Or maybe the to-do list guys, maybe you have to convince your customers that this is a really useful thing. Well, then of course marketing. Marketing is simply saying, okay, we are a great company. I think Apple does marketing really well. They just have this image, and the image from that spawn a few products. But I think some of these products are, well, I think first the iPod Mini, is it called Mini? The one that you wear on your coat. The Shuffle, exactly. I think it's one of the most useless products on the market, but somehow because they belong to Apple, it's like, wow, that's really I don't like it at all. So when marketing, well, you distinguish from your competitors because you're unique, you have a special edge, there's something very specific about you. You try to sort of integrate all your activities as a company to satisfy these wants. So I think many of you are still thinking very product oriented. You're thinking, well, I have just this one product. Whereas, well, I think the feedback guys, where are you? So for you, you could have a very rich set of services that comes with the product. The product can just be like a minute part of your portfolio, whereas you could sell all kinds of extra services or tools from third parties, simply because, well, you are an expert in this particular value chain. So you're thinking more about your customer than you're thinking about your particular product or your expertise. Oh, and here you see it satisfying customer goals. Of course, for that you need to have very strong customer focus. It's typically sort of highly educated type firm, so that's why you guys could do it, because you understand how important the customer is. Each customer is worth the money, so if you spend 2-3 days working for them for free, you know it's going to come back in a contract of 100K or so. So it's well worth your time. Well, you need to know what your competitors are doing, of course, because they too are as smart as you and they're trying similar things, and you need to show that you really are a little bit better than them. Or you need to be able to say, no, we leave that to our partners or our competitor, because we are good at this particular thing. Does this make sense? Let me see. Yeah, and then of course you can also you can have sort of two bi-directional approach where on the one side you're trying to be sort of a marketing oriented company, but also social marketing. So that means that you extend it more than just one customer. You try to help society as a whole. And I think many companies are trying to do this, but it's really hard to show that A, you're a great company, and B, you're also great for society. Typically you see things here like foundations, and they have customers, but they can be members, or things like that. Well, here's some differences between sales and marketing orientation. So if sales is, like I said, you very specifically target some people, or you target everybody, but you're trying to sell everything separately. Whereas marketing focus is more, okay, we're great, and it's easy to sell a product, and from more a generic view of your company, you start selling specific products. Well, relationship marketing, I think for most of you, very important. I think I've seen very great examples of this where one of the worst examples, I think, is I read the Autoweek. It's one of my only simple man indulgences. Otherwise I'm an intellectual, highbrow, etc. But my Autoweek is my playboy, so to say. And the one thing that I find really amazing, that with every Autoweek I get a special deal for Libelle. But it's such bad marketing, because here's my manly magazine, and then this stupid Libelle thing is there. Maybe I give it to my wife and then she, oh yeah, you already saw it coming. But I don't feel like Autoweek is respecting me as a customer. What I want to see is like, okay, go join a kart weekend, or go join a racing club, or something that's manly and belongs with the product and makes them respect me as a customer. Of course, very important point, especially in the software industry, you see this a lot. Selling something to a customer once is quite hard, but selling to that same customer then again, so repeat sales, is much, much easier. So especially if you look at business models for software companies, you see that 70 to 90% of their income comes from recurring customers. And that makes a lot of sense, because they stay your customer, they keep coming back. So it's like your neighborhood supermarkets. If you have two supermarkets that are near to you and they're about the same distance, well, what determines why you go to one? It's the fact that at some point you're happy about this particular one, they've won you over, and then you keep going to your overtime or your middle or whatever, and you kind of ignore the other one unless you really need something from it. Well, what's of course important, decreased costs. So winning over one customer is much more expensive than winning over a customer that you already have. So here we have the statistics on this. Keeping a customer costs 1/4 of what it costs to attract new customers. Probability of keeping a customer is quite high. Gaining new customers, well, of course these are imaginary numbers. For some it's 10%, for some it's 50%. But it is really important. I think also with most of you it will be that you will have to do excellent relationship management. You guys as well. I mean, many of us are selling these really like highbrow products, and you need to keep your customer, really respect them, and as soon as they have any bad news and spread it about you, then it's going to spread like wildfire. And there's this bit of a silly saying: reputations can be are forged over years and can be broken in like one day with one scandal or something. That's really important. Well, stable relationships is good for the customer, greater value and satisfaction. They don't just promote your product, but they start promoting your company. They start saying, well, Billy Kirmon and those guys are really great, and I called them up, and within 1 hour they fixed my problem. I saw for once that a guy asked some questions on a forum at 4 in the morning, and at 5 in the morning they already had a reply, basically because one of the developers is a bit of a, how do I say it, insomniac, you just can't sleep. So it's this kind of thing that really shows like, wow, these guys really have their eyes on their game. Yeah, so like I said, sense of well-being, bonding, in fact, these customers feel warmly towards you and you feel warmly towards them. So you have to have very specific people for that. I was already talking about different types of sales guys. You have the sales guy with the big cigar, who has time, who can go to your office and sort of camp there for a couple of days and just have fun with the management team. So you need people who are very customer oriented, who aren't the encyclopedia guy who bangs on your door and says, "Oh, I know what you need." But you need to have guys who are thinking along with you and thinking a bit outside of the box and saying, well, yeah, of course we can help you with this, but we can do this for 50% and we have a competitor or partner who can do the other 50%. So yeah, also important employees with authority to make decisions and solve problems. So it shouldn't be that every time that this customer comes to one of your engineers and then he or she has to go, oh, I have to check with the boss. 10% discount, yeah, that's a bit of a problem. I have to check with my supervisor. Well, then this customer loses all respect for that particular person. So why don't I directly call your boss? I speak from my own experience here also. And of course teamwork, so like I said before, that you think along with the customer, you give them, so Frapit I don't think has this problem so much, or would you say you guys have, you have to forge a long-term relationship with customers as well. So. Alright, so your marketing process. There's actually two things I want to discuss. So one is actually not mentioned in the slides here, but let's first talk about this. So understand your organization's mission and the role marketing plays in fulfilling that mission. Could be, again, I look at you three guys, that marketing is not a strong thing for your company, not something that you have to be an expert in. What you guys are an expert in is a bit of a nerdy activity, and other nerds will probably feel attracted to it when they hear that this exists. They'll go, all right, that's what we need. This is exactly, these are the guys we need. They can do it for cheaper than they can do it themselves. So let's call these guys up. That's very different, of course, from trying to convince with you guys with the shirts. Here you have to have a very strong marketing focus. Really, many people need to know about it. Everybody who walks around with one of your shirts or one of your pencil sharpeners or whatever needs to go, oh, by the way, I got this from Frat. So, that's the kind of marketing you need. Set your marketing objectives. So again, for you guys, that can be, we want to have at least 10 to 20 leads per year. For you, it needs to be, 100,000 visits a year. Yeah, exactly. A whole different scale. And of course, do your typical SWOT analysis. Now, one question that was asked already by one of you said, okay, we don't know which business model to pick, but you will help me with that, right? This is of course where immediately I want to say, yeah, I would like to, but what the hell do I know about your business? I think within no time, 1 or 2 months, you guys will know 10 times more about your market than me, especially specialist markets like yours, or even, yours I know a lot about, of course. But there is a nice trick that, holy crap, there is a nice trick that we can use, and I stole it actually from the BMC guy, the business model canvas guy. Do you all know Osterwalder? Some of you do, I see some heads nodding. Well, Osterwalder has developed a tool called strategizer.com. It's a business model canvassing tool, and there you can make